Good evening. It's Shelley Howard with College Ready, and I am really excited to talk to you all about our passion project. This is probably my favorite topic to speak of because I really believe it does so much more than just serve the community. It really touches lives, changes lives, helps students who are not sure what they want to major in or not sure what career they want, and absolutely gets them to where they need to go. So today I wanted to share with you some things that sometimes are the hurdles to a passion project. Like, how do I get started? I hear that a lot. So I wanted to jump in and let you know that there's going to be three main things I'm going to talk about today. But my goal is to empower you to be able to start that passion project. All right. So the first thing is we always need to start with, what are you passionate about? And this seems like it might be easy, and it may be for a few students, but not for all. So I wanted to start here because without a passion, there is no passion project. I came up with this idea almost 12 years ago now when my son told me he wanted to be a doctor. And when I asked him why, he wasn't sure. He didn't have a really good reason other than he said, I like science and I think it would be kind of a cool job. So I was a little concerned as a parent. That's a lot of school, a lot of commitment, a lot of money. Was he really doing it because he had a passion to serve as a physician? So that's how this originally got started. I have helped students, hundreds of students, do this. And I think why I love it the most, it's just like starting your own business. You have a dream, you have a vision, you think about, what do I want to share with the world? And that is your passion project. So as you go about figuring this out, there are three steps, and I'm going to guide you through each step. Then I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to share some awesome passion project ideas that you can do while COVID is amongst our community, and things that you can do while safe at home. So there's really no good reason not to do a community service passion project. Let's go ahead and jump in. So the first thing I ask every student when they become part of College Ready is, do you have a passion? And some of them will say, yes, I love to do this and this and this and this. And it's usually the ones who like have a passion for music or a passion for a sport. But for those students who don't have that one thing, this is a really hard thing to do for them. I met with a student this afternoon, junior in high school, great athlete. As soon as we got past the first passion, didn't have a lot of other things she knew that she enjoyed doing. So we went through an exercise that I love to do, and I do with every one of our students, where we help them by just talking to them to find out, what are you truly passionate about? And one time, I'll never forget, a few years back, I asked a student and he picked up his cell phone and he asked Siri. Siri is not going to know what you're passionate about, but you will know if you give yourself some time to really focus. So the first thing that I recommend doing is getting really clear about your passions. The best place to start is have a notepad right next to your bed. And when you either go to bed, right before bed, or when you wake up and you don't have a lot of stuff in your mind, then you want to think about, what if I had all the money, all the time, and I had no excuses, and there was no COVID, and I could do whatever I wanted with my day, what would that look like? And so we help our students to figure out, you know, if they would spend time with grandma or grandpa. They have a passion for that time with that person. If they want to go to the beach and hang out with friends, that is a passion. It doesn't have to be community service passion, it has to be a heartfelt passion. And so when we start with a heartfelt passion, The rest is really easy. I have taken passions from every crazy idea and turned them into something very meaningful. Let me give you an example of a few passions. So, this is really where people get stuck, and I want to help you over that hurdle. Unfortunately, as a parent of 4 teenagers, if I was to ask each of them, what are you passionate about? They would all answer very differently. One would be very methodical and list. The other one would be very creative and say, well, I kind of feel like this, and this is kind of fun. And then another one would be, I don't know, I'm kind of indecisive. I don't really know what that feels like. And then the other one would be, I know exactly what I want, and I know exactly what I'm passionate about. The beauty of that is I've come across some really good challenges. And so I encourage you to reach out and contact me if you have a challenging student and you just don't know how to help them. The other part is a student may not listen to their parent as much as they would a complete stranger. So sometimes we have a competitive edge and we can help those students. So once you help the student get their mind wrapped around what am I passionate about, the next thing you want to do is help them to think about what do they want to see changed in the world. I call it being a change maker. If you could change anything, and I start globally, I start regionally, I start narrowing it down to maybe your state, your community, your school, your health issue, whatever that is, what do you want to see changed in the world? And I tell students this, it's going to be different for me than it is for you. And that is okay. That's what makes this world so great is everybody has the things they love and they're good at and the things they wish to see changed. The one thing you can't have as an annoyance or something you would like to see changed in the world is a person. I get students giggle all the time because I know what they were thinking. They wish to change a parent, a brother or sister. We can't change people, so that really can't be part of this project. But there are a lot of things that we can do. So with that, we then talk about if you don't know what annoys, upsets, things you want to have changed, we need to get a bigger picture of the world. Most people in the United States, they have all their needs met. And so there's not a lot of things that they're very strongly opposed to. That's generally speaking, there are a few. But in reality, if you look at the news, if you read a newspaper, if you see what's going on in the world and you have a passion and a fire for it, it's so much more fun to work towards. So, finding your passion, finding that thing you wish to see changed in the world, and then brainstorm. So, the next piece is brainstorm. What skills do you have that you could offer a community service project? So, if your passion was to be an advocate for animals, what skills do you have? If you say none, what skills could you get? What people could you surround yourself? A good leader doesn't mean doing it all. A good leader means empowering others to help complete their vision. And so this is one area of the Passion Project that really wows colleges because they want leadership. They want people to come and inspire others to create change. Then think about what skills are you hoping to learn from this experience? How might it tie into your potential college major or future career? This is the genius of the Passion Project and why I love it so very much. Because while students are serving others, they lose focus of themselves. And what happens is they serve their community as a gift, and what they're receiving is the gift. Let me explain. So a student who has a passion to serve the orphans, they go thinking they're going to love on these children and to play with them and support them. You know, I took 7 of my students, college ready students, to Argentina last year, and we served in the slums and worked with these orphans who just wanted to be loved. They just wanted to be taught. They wanted to be, you know, just made to feel important. So I took this group of students who had no idea what they were getting themselves into, other than I told them, you have to love children. And we got there and I watched them all blossom. I watched one of them rise to the leadership role and started games on the chalkboard. I watched another one teach children how to do a drum beat and find their voice in music. I watched another one rally all the other students to create a craft. So all of the sudden, these students were rising up in different ways that they like to lead. Some of them were nurturers and some of them were rule followers. But all in all, these students who went with me, they left the US not knowing what they wanted to major in. And they were all juniors in high school. They didn't know what kind of career they wanted. When we left 7 days later, every one of them knew what they wanted to major in and what kind of career they wanted to do. Why? They got to test it out. It's like putting on a pair of shoes. You don't want to just buy them by looking at them. You want to walk in them. You want to see if they give you blisters. A passion project that's led by you with people you enjoy spending time with is the best way to figure out what you're good at and what you want to do for a career. So if you're thinking, I want to be an architect, would it not benefit you and others if you help to build or design homeless shelters, or maybe a playground shelter, whatever it is? You know, do you want to work with the elderly? Do you want to work with teenagers? Do you want to work with elementary students? Do you want to work with babies? Who do you want to work with? That's going to teach you a lot about yourself when you figure out. And if you don't know, work with each of them and you'll know very soon. So once you get a feel for your passions, the things you want to see changed in the world, you figure out, who do I want to work with? And then you start to test the waters. And I'm going to share with you a lot of different ways. I've even had a student who told me, Shelly, I don't like people. I don't want to help people. There's nothing I want to do that I'm passionate about. And I said, wow, that's interesting. So what do you like to do with your free time? And he says, well, I like Comic-Con. And I'm like, what? I don't know what that is. So I'm Googling it, trying to be, somewhat legit. And I find out it's some comic thing down in San Diego that he loves, where they're all very much into comics. Anyway, don't need to teach you that. But what I found out is, I said, what do you like to do with Comic-Con? He says, I love to go on eBay, buy stuff and fix it up. And I'm thinking, wow, so what if you went on eBay, you bought Comic-Con stuff, you fixed it up, you sold it for a higher price, and you donated all of that to your favorite charity? He's like, you can do that? And I'm like, of course you can do that. Some people have more time. Some people have more money. Some people want to impact others. Some people don't like people. Everybody can serve in their own way. It's finding out what that student wants to do. These things have to come from within. What I'm passionate about is just somebody else's task unless they're passionate about it. You can't force this on your student. You can't force this on anybody. You really have to help them help themselves. And this is really where the genius comes in and why I love this so much. This is the gift that I've been given. I speak teenager, I love teenagers, and I love to help them figure out what they want to do in the future. So before you get started, you do a little research. What has already been done with a similar project? Then you write out your mission statement. Who will you serve? What will you do? How will you do it? When will you do it? How often you'll do it? And then specific and measurable. In other words, how many blank, blank, blank will receive blank, blank, blank. You have to have goals and they have to be measurable, or how will you know if you've been successful or not? Then make a list of reasons you want to do this passion project. What do you hope to gain from this? Are you doing it because you need leadership? Do you know colleges want you to have led 5 things before you apply? Are you doing it because you don't know what's important to you and you need to test the waters? That's okay. Whatever your reason or you hope to gain from this, it's okay to have a little benefit for yourself. Do not do a passion project to impress colleges. They can read right through it. Definitely focus on who you are, what you want, and your goals, your talents, and your abilities, and make something meaningful. Then make a list of questions to ask volunteers who want to help you. Think about it this way. The goal is for you not to do another thing. I know all of you are so beyond capacity, or you were before COVID. The reality is you will be again. So I'm not here to tell you to do one more thing. I'm here to show you how to do something to serve your community, to learn about yourself, and to be able to write about it, because there's a question on the application. It's been there for 7 years and it says, tell me about a time you did something for somebody else that did not benefit yourself. Okay, that's community service. They don't want you just to show up. They don't want you just to, sign a sheet, show up. That doesn't serve. I mean, that's good, right? All community service is good. Let me throw that out there. Super important. All community service is good. But then there's better and best. So let me share, what does that look like for you? Better and best is this. So going back to the very beginning, your why, okay? Your passions, your annoyances, your mission statement. So good is you sign up at school to feed the homeless. You show up on the day and time, you put in your time, somebody signs it, and you leave. Many schools have a minimum amount of time that you have to complete. That's good. Did you enjoy it? I don't know. Did you look forward to the experience, or was it just another thing for you to do? I don't know. What's better? Better is if you're like, you know what, Shelly, I love elderly people and I know how lonely they must be right now. I want to entertain them either with my music, bingo, whatever that is. I want to entertain the elderly. So now when you go, or you do it via Zoom, you're entertaining the elderly and you're serving your community and you're enjoying yourself and you're giving of your time. Do you see how that's so much better? So let me tell you about best. Best is my favorite part. Best is one of those things where, you have this passion. You know who you want to serve. You're not exactly sure how you're going to do it, but you have some big dreams. So I can speak to my son's passion project because that was actually one of the very first ones that we did. And I remember going into his junior year, or right after his junior year, going into his senior year summer, I said, what is your plan for community service? He goes, I don't want to do it. I am too busy. I don't have the time. And I said, but it's important. We need to make sure this is something that you want to do for your future. He says, Mom, I'll give you 2 weeks. That's all I've got. And I'll do whatever you say. And I knew at that moment I had him, and I'm like, all right, no complaining. He's like, yeah, Mom, whatever you say. So I booked us 2 tickets to Kenya, Africa, and we served in the slums of Mathare. It was the most amazing, life-changing experience that I've ever done. And for my son, it was something that he'll never forget. The experience itself, you know, you don't have to go to another country to get this. It just happened to be that we both had this longing desire to go to Africa. It had been on our list for a very long time, and we really wanted to serve the children there. And so I found a wonderful organization, and I'm happy to share it with you. They put us in contact with the most amazing family. We lived with a Swahili family. We served the orphans. My son and I bonded together and had the most amazing time loving and serving these children. That wasn't even the best part. The best part is when we got home and we landed after we kissed the ground and we walked on. He said, "Mom, I'm so pumped up. I know what I want to do." And I'm like, "My job is done. I'll support you. I'll cheer you on. Go for it." So what he ended up doing, he got permission from his high school and he built this big wood teeter totter. And he had never picked up a hammer really before. Then he put this big empty water jug on one end and put girls, and a big empty water jug on the other one and put boys. And he pushed it out to the quad and got on the loudspeaker and said, "Who cares more about the starving children in Africa, the boys or the girls?" I will not tell you who won, but he raised $5,000. He was able to write a check and send that money to our connection. You know what $5,000 does to the slums of Mathare? It feeds people, it clothes people, it changes people's lives. That was not even the best part. The best part is he was written up as student of the month, student of the year, written up. His essay to the colleges was game changing. It was phenomenal. They made you laugh, made you cry, made you smell things you don't want to smell. But bottom line is, we found out he has a passion of a surgeon. He wants to care for people regardless of what they can or can't pay him. So no matter what his future holds, he's going to be happy because he's doing what he truly loves to do. And he'll be graduating actually from medical school this May. And he wants to be an orthopedic surgeon, and he does want to travel the world, and he does want to give back to his community far and near. So that's an amazing service project. So let's talk about for a moment, what else can be an amazing service project? Because a lot of times students get stuck here. Okay, so great, Shelley. I see it, I believe it, I want to do it. What do I do at this point? So I put together, very simply, a passion project spreadsheet. And where I came up with this is all of the things that my students and I have dreamt about over the last 11 years. So I have an endless amount that I can share. This is over 100 ideas. And I give you, is this good? Is this better? Is this best? Because if you're not sure and you're looking for top tier schools, you want to be looking for best. If you're looking for mid tier, you're good here. And if you're looking for a nice college, you're good here. Then I've come up with over 100 things you can do from home that is safe, that you can accomplish right now. You don't need to wait. So when there's a question about what you did during COVID, you don't put nothing because I couldn't. There are over 100 things you can be doing right now. Then I've gone through, given my students some areas to make connections. And then I just thought I'd share some of the passion projects that we've done through College Ready. We've done them small, we've done them huge, we've done them where it starts out really small and then gets really huge. And so those are my favorite. I tell students this, it's all about you, and it's all about what you get from it. So let me tell you about a few that have just been wonderful. I have one right here where a student wrote a book for children teaching them about the environment. Not only did this group, it started with two of my students, not only did they have a passion to serve the environment, they wanted to teach children at a very early age, very young age, how important it is to recycle. So, what they ended up doing is they would go into preschools and elementary schools and they would take things out of the trash can and they would turn them into really cool masks. And then they would play make believe. And the children got to see, oh my gosh, they took trash and they did something with it. Then they were able to bridge the gap and teach people how important the environment is. I've had students who are super important about being a dentist. I mean, super passionate about being a dentist. I've had students who've collect toothbrushes, toothpaste. I've had them take them to third world countries and I've had them take them to local poverty stricken areas. I've had students who have adopted a needy child, not physically, but emotionally and financially. I've had students write about blogs, about not write for blogs in for nonprofits. I've had students who've done karaoke's for their neighborhood to raise funds for a child who was diagnosed with leukemia. I've had students build websites. I've had students draw and then auction off their drawings and donate that money. There is not a student that I can't help find a passion for. So, with that, if you have any questions at all, feel free to unmute yourself and I would be more than happy to help you. College Ready really focuses on the Passion Project and the importance that it gives not only to our community, but also to the student. So thank you so much. And I'm happy to open it up for question.